Morning, fellow creators. Side angle this morning. Oh, furnace is on. Sorry. Ends up. It's been a little chilly in the mornings now. It turned to fall like that. So it's cold in the mornings now. Not really cold, but cold enough that it's like when I get up in the morning, it's cold because I didn't leave the furnace on all night. So I flip it on when I get up in the morning, let it run for a cycle and warm back up, and then I just turn it back off again. So I got 2 paintings to work on this morning that I started last week. If you guys missed the live stream for that, which was fun. It was just Sunday night when I normally do my Discord thing, but I'm like, you know what, let me stream because I really want to paint, because I didn't really get to paint last Saturday a ton. So I got this space painting I'm working on. I've been doing more space paintings in the past few years, and this was kind of spontaneous. I didn't have an idea for this one besides practicing some techniques, because I'm working on doing a series of tutorials with space objects, which I can't remember if I talked about last vlog or not. But I I'm like, well, I got to review some of my own techniques before I decide to go and teach them. So I cleaned up the little half pans that I'll be selling this December. I basically just ran an alcohol-soaked Q-tip around the edges of all of these, just because every time I picked one up and I was filling them, it just got completely covered in crap. So once at this point, I want to finish sort of my package design for this. Start and get going. I have my sample card, these. And this is the thing I probably can do today, is I want to cut these down and match them up with little pieces of, basically cut them into strips so I can wrap the watercolor cake in it so you can see the sample of it without necessarily having to go, oh, what color is this and whatever. Just a little something for the final package. To put them on this tray so they're easier to move around, because I was like carefully moving them on the paper, so I can just pick these up and work with them. One thing I will note, if you're planning on buying one, this is not a problem. It's just how these dry, is they crack. I don't know if you're actually going to be able to see this at all. I have to bring this in. It's so small you probably can't really see that. Anyway, it's still autofocused. It's just whatever. But as they dry, at least in the thick application, they crack and they turn into little cratery things, valleys and tears and things. Just the nature of the pastel watercolor. It just does that. So probably have to include a Q&A sheet, because I'm sure people are like, oh my god, it's cracking. I'm like, yes, it does that. I also want to find a package of sorts for this, some kind of a box. Now, the website where I get all my print bags also has a lot of little interesting packages. I'm probably going to go with something from them. The downside to that is I have to buy, I think it's a minimum of 25 of them. I can't just get 6 for the ones I need, but they're relatively cheap. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, that's all the housekeeping stuff for what's going on. I'm going to probably just turn the camera down and let you guys watch me paint today. I've got to finish the dark section. I actually worked a little bit last night on this planet, getting my a shadow layer on that. So I have to do the same thing with the Earth-like world down here, shadow that out, and then it's just all the fun lower planet cratery stuff. So I'm gonna get going. Alright, I'm really close now. Almost done. I need a bit more practice with my craters before I'm willing to do that for a tutorial. But I'll give you guys the zoom up of this. I need to do a little bit more detailing in with the planet. I'll need to do the final halo bubble for the city, the habitation bubble, which should probably throw on that list of tutorials. And yeah, that's about it. So but I gotta wait till it dries. I've been using some of my golden opens in here, so it's gonna be a while before I can touch the rest of this. I kind of wanted to do that as well as, because that's what I use for the planet up here, as well as here. That's gonna take some time to dry, so that's okay. That planet can wait, or rather, I don't have to worry about touching that because it's way over there, and I'm working down here. I realized as I got started on this, it was too late to fix it because I put the paint marker bubble in. Well, the city would have looked better compositionally over here, because now we have a weird offset with the rule of thirds. So, future reference: if you're gonna paint something similar to this, put it over here. But it's not, it's not terrible. Just offsets. It makes the sun more of the subject than anything down here. It's just kind of a weird blank empty space. I might be able to put like a crashed ship or something over here to balance it, but then I would end up having more visual elements than I probably need, so that's, I don't know. I haven't quite decided yet. Anyway, I gotta let this, sit this in the corner, let it dry. Oh, wait a minute. Let me show you the zoom. Right. Here we go. So, sorry. Funny Earth-like world. Now, all of the cracking you're seeing in here, this is actually an underlying thing with the with my original primer layer. I used PVA paint for this, and I've noticed actually with a couple other splatters I did last week, I think. Friday? It was last Friday. There was an Instagram video about it, or rather an Instagram live thing, and then there's a video here on YouTube, which is the highlights of actually just making those splats. Ooh, there's a good one. Anyway, so for whatever reason, PVA paint cracks when it dries in thick applications. So at least from what I've noticed. So interesting. It kind of works like crackle paste does, but way cheaper. Might be a video on that sometime in the future, depending on if I can get new. It also depends on if the PVA paint I has isn't just so old that that's what happens, or if the new stuff does the exact same thing. So I'd have to get some new stuff as well. Anyway, so all of that underlying cracking is that initial section. And part of the reason why I decided to do a space piece on this is because of that cracking, to make it look like cracks in reality. Pretty fun little side thing. I did a piece a number of years ago called Ripples in Space and Time. I don't think that time lapse is still on the channel. I think it's one of the ones that never kind of made it back. The piece itself was kind of weird. But that whole piece, I did like molding paste layers with a knife before I painted that piece. So the whole thing had this weird sort of wavy, ripply effect to it. And that's just, in some ways you could say is a callback. This is a callback to that to some degree, but a lot less extreme with the texture. Okay, the planet surface. Yeah, my craters, it's not so much that they're terrible, it's just that the shapes feel a little off to me. But, I mean, I could keep messing with it, but I don't want to. And then city's just a little bit of off-white. I actually mixed up a bright green you might have seen on my side palette there, and mixed it with the white for the lights, and then after that will be the halo bubble for that. But that's that. So I feel like this is a good and very fun addition to these splatter compositions. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and re-clean my brushes, set this paint aside, or rather scrape it up and then set the palette aside, and then get started on the other one. So this one, I'm actually going to try to avoid using black for, since I've got a lot of awesome color going on here. And I think it would be kind of overkill fix my mic here. I'm not sure if that was rubbing or not. I think it would be a little too much to use that stronger contrast. So I'm going to stick with some of the color I already have. Probably start with my darks. So I've got my Prussian blue hue, which I think is going to act as my black for this, and it should, because it's a really nice dark color, should absolutely do exactly what I need it to do for that. I can put a little more out there. For that, most of my base color here was the actually this is the closest thing I have to black in this whole piece, which is the micaceous iron oxide, which I used as a lot of the base. So all of this has a little bit of a rough texture, especially back in here. The upper layers was, I think, some light molding paste for that extra thicker texture, which I actually haven't done for a foreground layer in a really long time. And then it's reds. I think it was white, cad yellow, quin magenta, and then red oxide. The closer to the front we got here. Wow, my red oxide is just drying in the tube, isn't it? I don't use it anywhere near as much as I did when I first got it. And actually, wow, that is just dried in there. Look at that. Wow. This is going to be one of those colors that's going to get retired from my palette, at least my heavy body palette, probably next year. And I actually want to switch to using the transparent red iron oxide, because it's more of a glazy color, and I've been using more glazy colors in my work anyway. So yeah, that, some regular red oxide. It's also really insanely powerful. The tint strength is pretty much off the charts. It's not quite phthalo in terms of tint strength, but it's damn close. Plus, I have red oxide in my watercolors. I have red oxide in my Liquitex inks, so I still have access to the color. I just, yeah, definitely don't need the heavy body anymore. Then quin magenta. Put this down there. Shouldn't need a ton of that. That's another highly potent color. And then I mostly just kind of trying to work with darker hues and complements, and because complements, I've got the chromium oxide green dark, which is I think going to act as paint ring is going to act as a good supplement color for in between. So I think between those four, that should be more than enough to get at least the shadow layers done for all of these. Highlights will be a little more tricky, since I'll have to try and reflect more of the other color, but other than that, I think we're good. So it just occurred to me, well, two things. One, I was using cadmium red in this because I'm not getting that bright enough red with the with the Quid Magenta, so I put some of that on my palette for this highlight layer, which I'm getting into. Well, almost. I didn't mix enough of this dark for this layer, so I got to be careful and make sure it just doesn't dry on me. But sitting here, I'm like, oh, you know what I don't have enough of is pictures of me while painting. I've got tons of video of me while painting, not a lot of pictures. As much as I hate the term selfie, because I think it sucks, it's a terrible word. Much prefer the term self-portrait. Also, I hate when people, it's like you're there and you think, like, let me take a quick picture of me. It's like, no. I've only done that a couple of times, and I never really want to. I'm still in the here, give somebody your camera for a second, or phone in this case. Let them take the picture so it's not weird and awkward. Anyway, I don't have enough pictures of me. So, I'm going to try to get one of me working for reasons. I don't even know if it'll... You know what? I know that's not going to work. Because the front-facing camera is... Or is that front, back? I don't know. Whatever. It's bad regardless. I mean, never going to get the right angle. It's always going to look like crap. You know? I don't know exactly where this is going to sit, but if I can time it out, might be able to get a decent one. Something for Instagram, you know. This painting's turning out awesome. I just want to get a shot of me working on it. Would be nice. Okay, 10-second timer. Maybe. We'll have to see. Oh, wow, that's actually perfect. Ha 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 ha. Ding. I don't remember what I titled this. Oh, that's the other thing I got to do this morning, is get back into my sketchbook. I started a little... Flooded Fossils, that's what I called this one. I've been neglecting my sketchbook this year. Actually, it's been like from summer onward. I got out of my daily sketch routine, which I'm not happy about. But it's like, because I used to sketch on my lunch breaks at work, but I don't do that anymore, because either I don't have enough time, because a lot of times I'm taking shorter lunches to make up the time I was late coming in, or the thing is, I have a lot of downtime at work, but like I have this, like, it's like a standing desk more or less at work, so it's way higher for me, so it's a lot more awkward, and it's harder on my shoulders to actually work my sketchbook at work. So it's like I don't have time, or it's like things are just not going in the direction that I need them to do in order to really sketch. So I don't really have a dedicated time anymore, which sucks artistically, but I feel like it's better. It's better for work. It means means I don't need to spend the time in my sketchbook to de-stress, because I'm not stressed at work. So it's a thing. Okay, that took way too long. Back to work. Alright, so it's now about 10:45. I can't remember if I shouted out when I came down here. I think it was close to like 7:30ish. So I decided to actually put a bit more of my my light molding paste into this. I haven't done that for a piece in a really long time because it creates some heavy texture in the canvas, which is good. But if I ever decide to paint over it, it's terrible. But I really liked how this is turning out. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a quick and easy sell. So that's good. I put on the mid layer the yellower highlights just where the stalactites and mites cross into the center light area. So it's like it's all this redder section, and then as soon as it crosses over from here to there where that light would be hitting it, that's where I ended up highlighting a little bit more. So I got to give this a little bit of time here to dry, not a ton. We'll just talk for a bit, should be fine. I'm mixing up another light color, mixing with some the Titan buff with some of the yellow I've already got going on for sort of my final highlight layer. Let's see if I think this yellow is still wet. Not really. This layer is going to exclusively be sort of right, similar thing. So right kind of where the light crosses over. So, but for the foreground stuff. So it'll be, you know, from that black line down. None of the top sections will get it. Well, maybe it might do a little tiny bit here and there, but not much. Because I want to be sure that those are really only catching, really only the foreground and what's in here is catching that light, like I said. Once I do this, I do want to switch back to the other one, which should be relatively dry. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, it's tacky, so that's fine. I should be able to do the, well, at least the planet's piece is tacky. The buildings are probably fine. Yeah, they're okay. So I should be able to do that without smearing anything. So yeah, I'll do that, switch back. But my color's mostly right. I do want to do a little bit of glazing on this, but probably not until the next painting session, either tomorrow or further down the road. I'm not really sure when I'm going to get this one done. Because I do need to switch gears pretty soon. I found that as I was working here, I'm starting to get a little lazy in terms of how I'm putting down strokes and laying in the paint. And that's usually the time where I'm like, okay, I got to step away from this piece so I don't screw it up. Anyway, yeah, let me get this light color going. Mostly that yellow and the Titan buff to give it just that little extra bit of a finesse, I guess you could say. In theory, I should have been using that Titan buff on the other piece rather than white on the planet to make it seem a little bit more natural, but that's all right. Actually, need a different brush. This one with the watercolor one I use for a lot of stuff is actually finally starting to wear out. So I do want to swap for, use my shader, I think, for that, because I need it to definitely be more of a dry brush, and I was running into that problem before of my brush actually being a little too wet and it's smearing more of the paint than I was pulling up. Actually, hold on a second. I just realized this is why you leave a little extra color out. This pillar needs to be reflecting down here. I didn't have that in there, which is bad. And we'll have to also do some water lines and stuff a little later. Normally, I would end up doing like a blue layer or something to really kind of darken that. But I want to keep this a little bit more reflective. So doing, or rather keeping it fairly simple with that loose brushwork. I might come in with some yellows and reds with the glazes. I'm thinking my Indian yellow hue as well as the alizarin crimson hue to really kind of bring more of a glow into this. I also want to pull a few more greener tones into the shadows, which I'd much rather do with a glaze than trying to overlay that with thicker paint. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and change out my water one more time and get these highlights in here. and then I'm going to set it aside for a while. Okay, well, that is officially all I can do with this for at least 12 hours because of all that thick paint, really, and with the medium and all that junk. I cannot put anything else on this in terms of like glazes. Might be able to do some water lines, but I'm not going to until I finish the glazes. Because if I try to do any of that right now, I'm just going to rip that paint right back off. So I have to stop on this one. But I got to say, I haven't had fun on a piece like this for a while, especially with all the textural work. So I'm pretty happy with this thus far. It's this last. I'm pushing into that last 10% for this one now, which is an exciting time. Oh yeah, plus I'll have to rework the black bars once I get that going again, which I will actually have to scrape a little bit of that paint or sand it down or something because I went over that line with the texture a little bit more than I should have. In theory, I probably should have just taped it back off again, but and I still might for the finishing coat. But yeah, this is going to be. I wouldn't say that this is technically speaking the best thing I've done all year, but I think visually it's definitely one of my best. Kind of back of my mind here. I got to take pictures of pieces. I've got like 3 months worth of artwork I have not yet uploaded, finished. And if any of you guys are on the Discord server, you know that I post my finished stuff there. And a lot of times that happens in like waves. So it's like there's like I just like spam the gallery channel on the Discord server just with all kind of new pieces, which is what this is going to be. It's going to be like 8 or 9 of them. But hey, I'm having fun if that's all that matters. All right, so setting this aside, we're bringing the other one back. Hold on, I clean my brushes, move some paint around. Actually, before I switch them, I do want to show you these from last week. Yeah, if you guys saw that Instagram video I was talking about earlier. So the piece last vlog I was talking about how much I hated. These 3 are that piece. So that piece officially does not exist anymore. So I did all these splatters. I don't know if you can actually see the cracks in here. I put a layer of gesso on so it hides most of that, but it actually did. You actually can still see them. And this is that PVA paint. So it just does it. I thinned it a little bit, but it's still cracked a bit. Not to the extent that one did, but that was more of an experimental thing in the first place. This one I seem to have covered most of the cracks with this one. I don't think there were as many. And then this one's pretty good too. Like that. This is probably, of the 3, this one probably has the best splatter pattern. So those will end up being more of these pieces soon. I really want to get enough of these together for a show, hopefully by like January or February. So I kind of have to focus a little bit more on the splatter compositions than anything else. All right, let's go back over here. All right, so what do we have? I think it's just the little bubble, I think, is the only thing I actually really need for this. And then we can actually sign this one and call it a piece. So that's good. I'm going to need definitely something to dry brush with, or at least pull the paint around. That'll work. And then that brush upside down. Actually, that one's pretty much the perfect one for this too. Actually, with my angle's in here too. Just a funny angle brush. That's better. That, a little bit of zinc white, and that's all I really need to do this. Just using a little mini palette for this. I don't need to drag another giant one back out. Do I have more zinc white? Oh, I do. Good. I'm planning a mini Blick trip, possibly next week. Because there's some things I am starting to run out of a certain handful of colors and a couple other things I want to pick up. So, actually, this will be the first time I've actually really bought paint in a while. Like more than 1 tube at a time, basically. All right. Yeah, we're good. Nice arc. around. Bubble arc. As long as the line facing on the outer edge is clean, I really don't care about the rest of it. At least not as intensely. And because this is such a weirdly warped canvas slash substrate, wood, whatever, it's really hard to do that. Actually, I don't even need the other brush. I just need to thin that out and blend it down. I don't know if you even know if this would qualify as a tutorial. I could just do this bubble thing as like a quick tip, because all it is just laying that out with the zinc white and then just blending it down, which doesn't take real long. Could probably do it as like a 5-minute tutorial or a quick tip or something. But or you can just watch this video. You know, just how do you make the bubble things? Here, it's in this vlog. Go watch it. So all it needs is just that little bit of a frosting. Maybe a little bit more of a glare towards the front where it's the light's actually hitting it, but be a little bit more of the paint there. That's it, little habitation bubble. Fade it out a little bit more at the bottom. You can go crazy, you know, you use glazing liquid or something, but if you don't have the zinc white, you know, like glazing liquid plus titanium, you know. But again, we're just giving it that little extra bit of finesse. Just put a little bit of a blob there for a glare bubble, and then blend it back out a little. There it is. I don't have a, you know what? I don't have a title for this. Just occurred to me. Actually, I like the idea of using habitation bubble as maybe as the or colony or something. You know, I don't know. I got to think on that. Just, yeah, it's like I don't have a title for this. It's the same thing as the one last week. Is it was more spontaneous. I didn't have a title for it. Well, no. Did I? I don't even know if I had a sketch for that other one. Yeah, there wasn't a sketch for that one either. So I'm not worried about saving this paint. So that's that. I'm gonna lean towards a little bit of a purple color for my signature. That white was on my finger. Very nice. Just to reflect a little bit more from the backdrop. Colony, habitation, colony. Not sure yet. It's bugging me now. All right. Well, anyhow, this will get a gloss coat, of course, later. Let me zoom back out. Yoop. Further. There we go. But yeah, for a spontaneous piece that I had no plan for, this is pretty solid. To get a hook or something on the back of this one, but yeah, definitely a fun one, and should be neat for gallery stuff. Okay, so this one can go over in this side of the room because it's ready to go for a gloss coat. Let's put that over there and put the can next to it. Oh crap! I'm out of gloss. My spray gloss is empty. Oh, that's right. The can got screwed up last week. That's why. I was spraying something else, and the whole nozzle got screwed up. All right. So, how long is the hardware store open today? I could go up to one of the, like a Lowe's or a Home Depot, but I've got a little shop right down the road from me. But they're only open for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours on the weekend. Oh, they're open till 5. Oh, well, heck, that's better. Oh, we got plenty of time. Good. As long as I go to the hardware store later, we'll be fine. All right. So, Probably gotta do that now though, actually, before I forget. That got the. You know what? Let me do one more thing here before I call it a vlog, is I want to cut these down. So we'll get the paper cutter out and do that. Actually, come to think of it, I want to clear coat these too, because I don't know what's going to happen to them in travel and everything, and watercolor and moisture and what have you. Yeah, these are getting clear coated, but at least I've got. That's workable. That is also workable. There's my final fixative. Jeez. Yeah, so this is going to get a clear coat before I actually call it. But then again, yeah, the idea is to cut little strips of it and essentially wrap them up and around the little cakes to make that a little bit more presentable. And then I gotta look at packaging and stuff. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I guess call the vlog here. Thanks guys for watching this one. Another little 2-painting Saturday. Yeah, that's about. I don't know. I wish I had more to say this week, but that's it. It's awesome day in the studio, and look forward to more. If you want to see any of my finished work, I post that on eventually my own website, but I'm really slow at getting things up there. But there's a Facebook fan page where I post all of that, or you can join the Discord community. Link in the description box below for all of that. And I post the Discord and Facebook get the, well, I think I'm trying to remember to do it on my site as well. The finished piece, title medium size, as well as the sort of story snippet that I do for all my work. So there's like usually a 2 to 5 sentence mini story that I put with all my work. If you follow me on any of those other platforms, you can see those stories there. Okay, I'm going to go out in the garage and spray this, run down the store and get myself some clear coat, and go on with my day. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay creative. Keep on creating whatever the hell I say. This has been Cinder Studios, and I will see you guys next time.